We have just completed learning about database management system and describing the properties. Now let's look at the various types of DBMS, the common features, advantages, and architecture of DBMS. The various software of database management systems. There are various database management system or DBMS softwares in the market. Examples are Dbms, MySQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, Informix, PostgreSQL, IBM DB2, and such. Next, we will look at the common features in DBMS software. There are 6 common features of database management systems. These are database definition tools and language, non-procedural access, application development, procedural language interface, transactional processing, database tuning. Click Next to find out more about features of database management systems. First is database definition, language and graphical tools to define entities, relationships, integrity constraints, and authorization rights. It defines database structure or schema before using a database, tables, and relationships. It normally uses the Standard Definition Language (DDL) in Structured Query Language (SQL), which defines the schema or modifies the existing one, and which cannot be used to manipulate data. Click at the example button to see the examples of database definition tools and language features in DBMS. This is the example of database definition tools and language features in DBMS. Second is non-procedural access. Once a database has been created in a DBMS using DDL, the user accesses the data using a data manipulation language, DML. Non-procedural access is a language and graphical tool to access data without complicated coding. Click at the button to see the example of non-procedural access features in DBMS. This is an example of a non-procedural access feature in DBMS. Third is application development, which is a feature of graphical tool for developing forms and reports using non-procedural access. Form, formatted document for data entry and data display. Report, formatted document for data display. Click at the button example 1 to see the example of application development feature in DBMS for form, and click at the button example 2 to see the example of application development feature in DBMS for report. This is the example of application development form features in DBMS. This is the example of application development report features in DBMS. Fourth is a procedural language interface, a language that combines non-procedural access with procedural programming. Combine procedural language with non-procedural access to improve performance in batch processing and customization and automation. Click at the button to see the example of procedural language interface feature in DBMS. This is an example of procedural language interface features in Dbms. This is an example of procedural language interface features in Dbms. Fifth is transactional processing. Transactional processing is executing program that forms a logical unit of database processing. It includes one or more database access operations such as insertion, deletion, modification, and retrieval. It is used to perform scheduling of operations and implementations of concurrency control algorithms to control simultaneous uses and recover from failures. Click at the button to see the example of transactional processing in Dbms. This is an example of transactional processing feature in Dbms. Lastly is database tuning. Database tuning is a tool to monitor and improve database performance. Example, memory tuning, input-output tuning, application tuning. Click at the button to see the example of database tuning feature in Dbms. This is the example of database tuning feature in Dbms. Now we look at the advantages of using Dbms. First is it can control redundancy in data storage and in development of effort. Second, it can restrict unauthorized use of data. Third, it will provide persistent storage for program objects. Fourth, it can provide backup and recovery services. And fifth, it can provide multiple interfaces to different classes of users.